which correspond to BC and AD. An old Jewish proverb teaches that words that come from the heart enter the heart. If some of the words in this book will touch your heart and stimulate you to go on expanding your own Jewish literacy, I will feel deeply blessed. Joseph Telushkin, New York, New York, September 1990. Introduction to Second Edition. The warm reception accorded Jewish literacy has been one of, perhaps, the professional highlight of my life. I have been particularly moved by the fact that the book is widely used both in Introduction to Judaism courses and in classes for people studying to convert to Judaism. At lectures, when people tell me that this was the book that introduced them to Judaism, I feel honored and humbled to have been able to play the role of teacher in so many people's lives. When Susan Friedland, my editor at HarperCollins, told me of her wish to bring out a new, more attractive version of Jewish literacy, I realized that now, exactly a decade since the book was first issued, was a good opportunity to revise the book. Obviously, the large majority of the entries have remained untouched. No new revelations in the past decade, for example, would cause me to rewrite entries on King Solomon or on the Crusades. But new events and more recent information do indeed suggest the need to rewrite and expand some of the old entries while composing a few new ones. When I wrote about righteous Gentiles who saved Jews during World War II, only one such name was very widely known: Raoul Wallenberg. In the past decade, with the extraordinary success of Steven Spielberg's Schindler's List, it is only fitting that a book entitled Jewish Literacy also tell the story of another remarkable hero, Oskar Schindler. In other instances, I have rewritten entries to reflect the passing of their subjects. In a few cases, I've corrected factual errors that readers pointed out to me. In writing, for example, in entry 119 that Jewish conversions to Christianity were widespread in 19th century Europe, I noted that Isaac Disraeli's conversion is what ultimately enabled his son Benjamin to become Britain's prime minister. I thank the reader, whose name I unfortunately have forgotten, who informed me that Isaac Disraeli did indeed arrange for the conversion of his son Benjamin, but did not convert himself. Last, I've added 2 new entries, my criterion being that these entries reflect events that I believe will influence Jewish life and be discussed by Jews for decades. The 1995 assassination of Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin, of blessed memory, and on a happier note, the 2000 nomination of Senator Joseph Lieberman as the Democratic Party's vice presidential candidate, the first American Jew nominated on a major party's national ticket. Finally, to all my listeners, a very sincere and heartfelt thank you for the many kind letters and responses you have shared with me. Joseph Telushkin, New York, New York, February 13, 2001. Introduction to Third Edition. Since the publication of Jewish Literacy in 1991, I have found that the most common sections of the book people question me about are the ones dealing with the Bible and with Jewish ethics. Some years ago, I chose to elaborate on the biblical section in a separate book, Biblical Literacy, in which I was able to write at considerably greater length on many of the subjects that were dealt with more briefly in Jewish literacy. And while I have continued to write on issues of Jewish ethics, my most recent book is A Code of Jewish Ethics, I thought it appropriate to augment the section in this book on Jewish ethics with some additional entries, including one on the perennially significant subject of forgiveness, including a discussion of the question, when are we required to forgive and when not? The not widely known commandment that requires us to reprove others' wrongful behavior, and the commandment that forbids us to stand by when another's blood is being shed. In addition, there are 3 new entries in the section on Zionism and Israel reflecting events that have occurred over the past few years, including the collapse of the Camp David talks between Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak and PLO Chairman Yasser Arafat in 2000, and the ensuing Second Intifada, Israel's withdrawal from Gaza in 2005, and the war between Iran-backed Hezbollah and Israel in southern Lebanon in the summer of 2006, and the implications for Israel of Iran's ongoing effort to develop nuclear weapons. Other entries have been amplified. Thus, Holocaust revisionism unhappily continues apace, and new material has been added to this edition detailing the Iranian government's convening of a conference of Holocaust deniers in December 2006. Within the 2 past years, the conservative movement issued a series of rulings, the effect of which was to pave the way for